tracks here, I found my spiritual name. Yes, I'm with my queen now, and now you can hear from both of us, you know, as we talk about the spiritual journey, like, which is with our coconut that we grabbed. Look at that dinosaur. Yep, got that from the tree today. Mother Earth feeds everyone. So my wife, she's going to be leading this one, based on everything I was saying. You know, you saw the videos and stuff that we've been going through, and like today, something very significant happened to us. You know, very wow. You know, what I mean, just in meditating, like I was telling you guys, and everything else, while we sitting here on the island, eating our fruits and stuff like that. So I give you no more say of me on my spirituality, my spiritual root name, which is Roots. That's my spiritual name. Roots. Roots. And yesterday, it was, you know, as I was going on, I did a recent post talking about, you know, how you might be overqualified when you go seeking for, you know, a type of, gig
like work or something.
Or they want you to change your identity. And it was interesting because this happened right after I talked to you guys about the hair and one of the reasons why I grew. And I let my wife build on that as well. And, you know, that was my spiritual part of it. And as I said, it's important that you don't go against your will when it comes to your spiritual journey, which is Dharma, because Dharma deals with more of what you want to do in life, what you're passionate about, and not going against your will when you're on the spiritual journey, when you're vibration. We'll get more into that a little bit later, but no more say for me. My name's Roots. That's my spiritual name, and I leave you with the woman, the God symbol. Yes, the true God symbol, as I talked to you guys about before. All right.
Cool, that's an awesome introduction. Thanks, babe.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm kind of awkward on camera because it's just like, I don't know. I'm not a pro or professional, you know, type of person who wrote books and stuff. I'm not a guru or anything, but, you know, there are a few things that I like to, a few rules that I like to live by, or laws that I like to live by. And I think it's really important for us to all revisit the 42 laws of Maat. It's called that, but I believe it had another name before we put the English words to it. But I would just recommend everybody revisit it, and also myself as well, because I don't know the 42 laws of Maat by heart, but I do know the basics of it, and basically that's where the 10 Commandments came from, what were the 42 laws of Maat. And so I just really encourage everybody to kind of go and revisit that, because if we do live by those laws, then I feel like we will go into our purpose, and we'll kind of understand where other people are coming from also. So while I hold this coconut and get the vibrations from it, you know, I'm able to kind of like pick up, download information and everything like that. And again, once you follow the 42 laws of Maat, it, you know, those laws, Maat specifically talks about, you know, not eating animals, so that's another thing. But yeah, 42 laws of Maat, I would say, would be the first thing that I would do my best and try my hardest to memorize and to live by. And I just believe that if we all kind of stay in our own lane and go inside ourselves, then we will know all the answers to any questions that we have, and we'll also learn how to treat other people. That's really important. Like, how you treat yourself is how you treat other people. So if you treat yourself like shit, then you're going to treat other people like shit. Or if you don't really believe in yourself or have a trust in yourself, then you're not going to be trusting of others as well. So that's how I like to live. I like to be, you know, non-judgmental. Like, if we live in a non-judgmental way, then we would free up a lot of energy that we could be using to heal ourselves, you know what I mean? And I'm just like itching myself because I've been getting bitten by mosquitoes a lot, so I'm just kind of like wiping them off. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Just research the 42 laws of Maat so that you can learn how to live by the way that, you know, the creators have intended for us to all live. And also go inside yourself by doing your best to not judge something or judge a situation. And I would also even encourage people to go further and, you know, I'm not saying be a dull ass person, but, you know, just contain yourself and just try and do your best to not let situations dictate how you feel like your everyday. So if something bad happens to you, then, you know, are you going to let that dictate how you feel at that moment? If something good happens to you, are you going to let that dictate how you feel at that moment? Because if we do that, then we learn that every single day a situation is going to control how we feel. And that means that we're not going to have control over our own minds and our own spirits and our own bodies. Because if something pisses you off and you don't have control over your body, then you might go and eat something that is, you know, not going to be the best for your body. But you're doing that because you're stressed or something like that. And you're stressed because of a situation. So that means you're allowing situations in your life to control your life. And if you do that, it will always be a roller coaster of emotions and feelings that you have all of the time. So I would just encourage people to practice that. And one of the ways that I found out even about that was by reading or listening to the audiobook of Deepak Chopra called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. If you just Google that on, or just YouTube it, it's free. You can listen to the audiobook as much as you want. And while you're listening to it, start to take notes down. And, you know, maybe you can learn something from that. But I've just kind of been guided by the 42 Laws of Maat, really inspired by that. And also the 7 spiritual laws of success. Yep. And then also just noticing how I react to certain situations and going inside myself to do the best that I can, because we're not perfect. Nobody on this planet is perfect. And because we are living in this dimension, and that means that this dimension is in itself a flawed dimension because of all of the things that we have to go through as beings on this planet. It's all from the fall, you know, like man has fallen, so we have to operate in this construct or in this dimension. And, you know, because we have to operate in this dimension, there's certain things that we're going to always have to go through and suffer. This is you know, this is the suffering dimension, the third and the fourth dimension. So because of that, we have to do our very, very best to continue to train our minds and our bodies to be optimal and do the best that we can. And once we do that, then that way that we can make this life the best that we can. Because we really, the only thing that we can control at this point is our minds and our bodies. That's the only thing that you have control of. We don't have control of what's going to happen on the planet. We have no control over any of that, because we are at the will of the creators. We are at the will of creation. So because of that, we can only control what is inside of us and what we are made of. We're made of matter, right? We're made of energy. So the best way to be able to control that is the way you think and the way you eat, because everything is chemical reactions, right? Everything, like when we eat, it's a chemical reaction. When we drink, when we think, it's all a chemical reaction. So those would be the basics that I would say and encourage people to, you know, do on their journeys and on their paths. And don't beat yourself up. Just keep going inside yourself to determine what it is that you need to do. And when I say go inside yourself, I mean, like, don't look to somebody else to solve your problems. That's the first thing.
Don't blame nobody else because of your problems.
Right.
I mean, that can be hard to swallow too, you know, because, you know, especially growing up, you always get processed. Look at the syrup coming out, golden syrup.
It's some sap from the coconut.
If you like always trying to, well, if they would have did this or that would have happened, this would not happen. When you go within, you'll learn pointing the fingers is really a weak bail out on a characteristic way of going about your life. And I'm not trying to get so confusing about the process, but like blaming other people for um, what I might say for your situations, depending on the people that you're around and involved with, you know, can be tricky, and you don't want to be that person like, well, that's because of her, or that's because of him, or them and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, and I want to be doing this, and because of this, then you stop yourself from like thinking, how you improve on yourself, All right, not to cut you off, baby.
But that makes sense though. And no, it's no problem. Because every choice that you've made have been a choice that you have made.
That's true.
Even if it was because of somebody else, you still made that choice. So if you made a choice based on a loved one or family member, you can't blame that person for the consequences of the choice that you made. You can't.
And that even goes into relationships too, especially on our travel experience as well. And as we growing maturing together on that, and we like kind of like learned a lot from each other, just going on this type of journey. I might say, like, what do you think about that? Like, when you're in it's like I was saying, it's good that me and her can actually be vibrating on that same frequency to go forward, and raising up the frequency of our frequency, and the planet being real in tune and really catering to and being connected to the ancestors and stuff like that. So yeah, as an overall topic of that, and yeah, I'm letting you lead. I'm sorry.
No, you're not
Yeah,
bothering
but
me at all.